Hey, come see us on tour. We're going to be in Duluth, Georgia, outside of Atlanta, Jacksonville, Florida, Tempe, Arizona, and Burbank, California. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. French authorities arrest Telegram CEO Pavel Durov at a Paris airport. Isn't that something?
Jeez.
So, the founder and CEO of the messaging service Telegram was detained at a Paris airport on an arrest warrant alleging his platform has been used for money laundering, drug trafficking, and other offenses. That's what the French media says. Do you believe them? You think that's the real reason? Pavel Durov, a dual citizen of France and Russia, was taken into custody at Paris Le Bourget Airport on Saturday evening after landing in France from Azerbaijan. Investigators from the National Anti-Fraud Office attached to the French Customs Department notified Durov, 39, that he was being placed in police custody. French prosecutors declined to comment on Durov's arrest when contacted by the Associated Press, in line with regulations during an ongoing investigation. Okay, Jesus Christ. French media reported that the warrant for Durov was issued by France at the request of the special unit at the country's interior ministry in charge of investigating crimes against minors. So do you really think that's why they're going after him? I'm going to tell you the real reason in a second. Those include online sexual exploitation, such as possession and distribution of child sexual abuse content and grooming for sexual. So they're saying, like, if you use an app, like if I'm using Signal and I pass something that's some exploitation material, that they can go arrest the CEO. So if I post something, a nude picture of a underage kid on Facebook, they're going to go arrest Zuckerberg? Do you think that's what they're going to do? Because that's what they're saying they're doing. That's what they're saying they're doing. So Telegram was founded by Durov and his brother in the wake of the Russian government's crackdown after mass pro-democracy protests that rocked Moscow at the end of 2011-2012. The demonstrations prompted Russian authorities to clamp down on the digital space, adopting regulations that forced internet providers to block websites and cell phone operators to store call records and messages that could be shared with security services. So this is them trying to get out from underneath the thumb. Telegram continued to be widely used, including by government institutions, and the ban was dropped 2 years later. Telegram also continues to be a popular source of news in Ukraine, where both media outlets and officials use it to share information on the war and deliver missiles and air raid alerts. Wow. So here's what Megatron says. This is the real reason they're doing this to him. The Telegram is the main source of information about the Israeli genocide and massacre in Gaza. Thousands of videos of Jews, I would say thousands of videos of Israelis massacring children have been posted on Telegram channels by journalists living in Gaza. Israel is trying to stop that flow of information, and that is why it has killed over 100 journalists in Gaza alone. I don't think that's disputable, that's how many journalists have been killed in Gaza. I don't think that's a disputed number. But of course, that doesn't have anything to do with why they arrested him, because Israel doesn't have any influence over foreign governments on any level. Oh, wait a minute. The most accurate information about the situation on the ground in Ukraine comes out on Telegram, and NATO can't control it. The biggest Wagner channels are on Telegram. In general, the best way to assess if a disinformation campaign is taking place is to check if multiple channels that are pro-Wagner or so have related. Many people use Telegram as their source of information because the information comes directly from the field. Many dead NATO soldiers appear on Telegram, and the CIA and NATO command can no longer hide their direct involvement in the war broken out in Russia. So you see what's happening? Telegram did a lot of damage to the French army in Africa. The Africans organized all their protests, resistance, and everything else against the French occupation forces through Telegram. Russian mercenaries obviously used different platforms, but Telegram played for them an important role in accelerating the deterioration of France's military posture, especially in Africa. I think it's important to take it into consideration when wondering why the French would get involved. So people think France is just a tourist spot with overpriced food, but we forget they are a major weapons dealer to the world. They're almost as bad as we are. They have caused a lot of death for profit, and they don't want to give that up, even if some upstart comes along with the social media platform. So, I mean, the founder of Telegram has been detained by French intelligence services at the airport. He is expected to be presented to a judge later this evening, facing multiple charges. Potential charges include terrorism, drug-related offenses, complicity, fraud, money laundering, concealment, and possession of child exploitation content. The main concern of the European Union authorities regarding Telegram is its encrypted messaging. So they want to get to him. Look, there he is flipping off. This is the famous photo of him flipping off Putin, giving him the middle finger, which means he could probably run for president here in the United States. In 2011, he said the government had requested him to cancel the accounts of anti-government figures on his social media platform, and he wouldn't do it, and he left the country. Durov not only did not follow, but also publicly released this photo of him raising the middle finger to Putin in the media, which received cheers from the West. After the 2014 Ukrainian coup, Durov refused to provide the Russian government with information on users involved in the Ukrainian colorful revolution. In the same year, he left Russia, claiming that Russia was unable to keep up with the information age shortly after he acquired French and UAE citizenship and stated that he had no plans to return to Russia. Today, Durov was arrested by France on charges of using the platform to support terrorist activities and pedophilia after refusing to provide user information to the United States and Israel, facing 20. So he's not playing along. Now, you remember after 9/11, there was a telecommunications CEO who wouldn't give up his phone company's private info to the intel community here in the United States, and they put him in jail. So that's what this is. The FBI, the CIA, the Mossad, the MI6, they all want to have this information, and he's going to keep it private. And so you know how it works, right? First they come along and they try to persuade you. And if that doesn't work, they try to bribe you. And if that doesn't work, then they try to put you in jail or kill you. And that's what's happening to him right now. Here he is talking about when the FBI came to him in an interview with Tucker Carlson. He said the last time he was in the United States, he brought an engineer from Telegram with him who the Secret Services tried to hire behind his back. Watch this. Huh.
We got too much attention from the FBI, the security agencies, wherever we came to the US. So to give you an example, last time I was in the US, I brought an engineer that is working for Telegram, and there was an attempt to secretly hire my engineer behind my back.
What are you going to hire him to do? Climb up a sloped roof? Am I right? Come on. Here we go.
Cyber security officers or agents, wherever they are called.
The U.S. government should hire your engineer?
That's my understanding. That's what he told me.
To write code for them or to break into Telegram?
They were curious to learn which open source libraries are integrated to the Telegram's app, on the client side, and they were trying to persuade him to use certain open source tools that he would then integrate into the Telegram's code that, in my understanding, would serve as backdoors.
would allow the U.S. government to spy on people who use Telegram.
The U.S. government, or maybe any other government, because a backdoor is a backdoor regardless of who is using it.
That's right.
And
That's a little surprising to hear. Maybe it's not surprising. It's offensive. You're confident that happened?
yes, there is no reason for my engineer to make up the stories. Also because I personally experienced similar pressure in the US. Whenever I would go to the US, I would have two FBI agents greeting me at the airport, asking questions. One time I was having my breakfast at like 9 a.m. and the FBI showed up at my house that I was renting. And that was quite surprising. And I thought, we're getting too much attention here. It's probably not the best environment to run.
Why would had you committed a crime?
No, they were interested to learn more about Telegram. They knew I, left Russia. They knew what we were doing, but they wanted details. And my understanding is that they wanted to establish a relationship to, in a way, control Telegram better. I understand they were doing their job. It's just that for us running a privacy-focused social media platform, that probably wasn't the best environment to be in. We want to be focused on what we do, not on government relations of that sort.
Government.
So there it is. The FBI leaning on him. The FBI trying to get his engineer to provide them a backdoor so they could spy on everybody. And he wouldn't play ball. And now he's arrested in France. So he helped Ukrainians stage a coup in d'etat in 2014. Did you know that? You want a reason to arrest him. Then the whole West glorified him then. He also trolled the Russian FSB and sent them an encryption keys to Telegram in 2017. Back then, the West cheered his fight on. Then there's an attack on the messenger through Apple, which Pavel managed to fend off thanks to the chats that are needed by the Ukrainian military intelligence. Here he is. 9 years ago, I defended the private data of Ukrainians from the Russian government and lost my company and my home. I would do it again without hesitation. Here's this letter. So Medvedev released a statement about Durov's arrest. Medvedev. So that's, is he currently the president of Russia? Or he was. Can you look up Medvedev's current position? Some time ago, I asked Durov why he didn't want to cooperate with law enforcement on serious crimes. It's a matter of principle, he said. I told him that will cause serious problems in any country. So this is Medvedev, former president of Russia, saying, hey, if you don't cooperate with the cops or the intelligence community in any country, it's going to cause problems. There isn't freedom. There is no such thing as privacy. We get to do what we want. We're the government. He believed that his biggest problems were in Russia, so he left, eventually obtaining citizenship or residency in other countries. He wanted to be a brilliant citizen of the world, living well without a homeland. Did you find out who
Medvedev is serving as deputy chairman of the Security Council of Russia since 2020.
Okay, there you go. He miscalculated. To all our common enemies now, he is still Russian, and therefore unpredictable and dangerous, of a different blood. So what he's saying is that the world still sees him as a Russian, and so the world now hates Russia, and so they don't care. Of a different blood, definitely not a Musk or a Zuckerberg, who, by the way, actively cooperates with the FBI. He's saying Musk and Zuckerberg actively cooperate. Well, we know for a fact that Zuckerberg does, he admitted. Durov needs to finally understand that, like the Times, one does not choose their homeland. Okay. And despite, Megatron says, and despite Durov helped NATO in the 2014 coup in Ukraine, Russia is working to free Telegram founder Pavel Durov after he was arrested in France. This is from Maria Zakharova. Russia sent a note demanding access to Durov, but France perceives his French citizenship as the primary one. Durov, the founder of Telegram, is a dual Russian-French citizen. The Russian embassy in Paris seeks an explanation from France, urging it to protect Durov's rights. Despite the request, France remains unresponsive. Finally, so Baptiste Robert says, finally, the charges against Pavel Durov have been published. Complicity, administration of an online platform to allow an illegal transaction in an organized band. Refusal to communicate at the request of the authorized authorities to the information or documents necessary for the realization and exploitation and of interceptions authorized by law. Complicity, detention of the image of a minor child, pornographic nature. Complicity, dissemination, offering, or making available. So what they're saying is that somebody in their own private chat had this image of a minor child, and so they're charging him with it, which is like if I went on Twitter and gave you a DM and passed you some image, they could then arrest Elon Musk for that. That's the equivalent of what they're doing. Complicity, dissemination, offer, or making available in an organized tape of images of a minor report. So that's what they're getting him on. So I don't have to go through organized gang scam or association of criminals with a view to committing a crime, money laundering of crime. So whatever someone's doing on using his Telegram, they're charging him with. So I don't need to go through all this. I think it was wise to wait until anyway, okay. So it appears that Pavel Durov has been using cryptography without a license. I don't even know what that is. Providing cryptology services aiming to ensure confidentiality without certified declaration. So he's making sure that your communications are private. And they don't want them to be private. The government wants to be able to have access to them. According to these charges, every social media platform executive in the world should be arrested. That's what I've been saying this whole time. So of course they're not. So, and you don't have to like that guy, Duvall. A lot of people don't like him for different reasons. I don't like the fact that he helped the overthrow of the democratically elected Ukraine government. I say arrest him for that. But what they're going after him for is that he won't give governments access to private information so they can spy on you. And it's got to do with Israel and Palestine. It's got to do with Ukraine. And they've had it. So first they tried coercion. Then they try to bribe them. Now they're doing the jail. So there you go. And those are the charges. Those are the charges. I'm sure all those things happened that they're charging him with. But just as this person says, according to these charges, every social media platform executive in the world should be arrested because that happens on all the platforms. The difference is the other people running those social media platforms are cooperating with the intelligence community. Hey, come see us on tour. We're going to be in Duluth, Georgia, outside of Atlanta, Jacksonville, Florida, Tempe, Arizona, and Burbank, California. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.